Good morning guys, welcome back to another video. It has honestly been an absolute whirlwind since I checked in with you guys last time, so apologies I didn't bring a video to you last week. I just needed a little bit of a down week, so right now my Jimny is in getting repairs done, which is why I am driving a rental car at the moment. So it meant that I had to make my plans this weekend a little bit more low-key because obviously I can't really go camping without all of my gear, but I have decided to make this video a bit more of like Adelaide's local hidden gems. So I'm going to take you guys around, show you guys all of the cool spots within a driving distance of Adelaide. So my very first spot is the Marialta Falls, I believe it is, and the Giant's Cave. So this one here is like a 4-kilometre easy loop. So let's get to it and then we'll decide what we'll do for the rest of the day. First stop is the Giant's Cave, which is honestly so amazing. The entire landscape around here is honestly so beautiful. So from here, I think we're about halfway potentially, so I'm going to head over to the Marialta, I think that's how I say it, the falls. So that apparently is probably not running that crazy at this time of year, but we're still going to go check it out anyway. Alright guys, we made it back to the car, and can I just say, I kept getting a few weird looks because I wore my jumper the entire time, because when I started the hike, it was actually kind of cold, but I'm the kind of person that I don't care how hot it is, I'm not carrying that jumper, so I will leave it on. Maybe not all the time, but today was just one of those exceptions where I was like, I couldn't be bothered. I'd rather just like wear it no matter how hot it gets. But either way, from here, I am heading off to a really cool German town, which is Hondor. Now, from Adelaide, this is literally a 30-minute drive, so definitely a must visit if you're in the area. But I believe it's Australia's oldest German settlement town, which in itself is really cool, and it holds a lot of like character and charm. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is that I realized I didn't explain why my car is getting fixed at the moment. So luckily there was no dramatic car accidents or anything like that. It was honestly just back in Victoria, some lady hit my car while it was parked on the side of the street. Luckily she left a note. I feel like that never happens. So she left a note, left her details. So I have just been honestly waiting until I was in a position to get it fixed, which is obviously here in Adelaide, and then I had to wait for parts and all the rest of it. So she's getting fixed for the next week, so that's where I am with the rental car at the moment. But either way, let's get on the road and we will go check out this beautiful town. Now, if you don't know the area well, Hondor is actually located within the Adelaide Hills. Now, this is a charming blend of German heritage mixed with Australian beauty, and it was actually established back in 1839 by German settlers. So it does bring a whole range of different sort of cultural festivals and all these beautiful buildings and cafes, and of course shopping, which I absolutely had to do. But this is definitely a must visit, especially if you're in Adelaide. It is so easy to get to, and honestly, you could spend all day here as well. Alright guys, my next stop is Mount Barker Lookout, which you can see behind me. So this one here is about 15 minutes away from Hondor, and honestly I think one of the downsides of solo travel is that Hondor is one of those spots that you want to stay for a little while, you want to have some drinks and lunch and all the things, but when you are solo traveling, I don't know, for me anyway, not to say that everyone's the same, but I'm probably not going to sit around by myself having a few drinks. So, you know, the fact that I had breakfast, that was a bit of an out of the ordinary sort of thing for me, but either way, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I'm going to see what we're going to check out for the rest of the day. It is quite warm now, so I might actually head over to the beach. guys, there was one stop off I wanted to make before heading to the beach, which I absolutely had to show you guys, but I want to show you guys at low tide and at high tide. So right now it's low tide, which is why I am making my way through all of this mud, but I promise you this spot is so magical. But the reason I want to get to it at high tide is because it is effectively these little shipwrecks that at low tide you can walk through them, and then as the tide comes back in, they're submerged in water, and it is actually so beautiful. So let me show you guys, and then obviously we're going to come back here tomorrow morning. It'll be sunrise and the high tide peak, so that will be beautiful for some drone shots as well. Alright guys, maybe an unpopular opinion, but I did not like that beach. I was not a fan of it at all. I feel like it's the equivalent of like Surfers Paradise to tourists, where there are better beaches out there. So it's exactly what I've done. I have popped over to Tennyson Beach, which is sort of near Henley Beach, along the same sort of strip, but it's a little bit quieter and honestly so beautiful. Alright guys, there is one more spot I want to tick off my list before we wrap up this video, but first things first, it is currently midweek and I officially have my Jimny back right in time for the weekend, which I'm super stoked for. So honestly, the vibes I'm putting out for 2024 is that people stop hitting my car, because last year alone I had to get 2 lots of repairs, and like this is obviously part of that, but how did 2 people hit my car in the same year? Like it needs to stop. Anyway, let me show you guys this spot because it's absolutely beautiful, and I've come here right in time for sunset as well, so hopefully it is absolutely beautiful. Alright guys, that is a wrap for this week's video. Thank you so much for following along as always. I've got a little bit of a drive home now, but I will see you guys all in the next video.